So I felt I needed to make a response here. And it is I've been reading some of the comments and stuff like that from one of the videos about the shooting, about the Alex Preddy shooting. And I've given my view on it, and I'm still not going to change my view on it. And they keep on saying that I'm a liar. Well, here's the thing. No, I'm not a liar. Okay, I'm honest about what's going on. Why? Well, because unless you've been shot at, unless you've been in an imminent threat situation to where you have to make a split-second decision, unless you've trained force on force, right, extensively for years at a time, and you put yourself in those situations, here, even as a civilian, you don't know. You don't know what it's like to be shot at. I know what it's like to be shot at. I know what it's like, even as a civilian, to be put in an imminent threat situation to where I have to make a split-second decision. Now, law enforcement does that a lot. I'll tell you right now, especially ICE agents, because they're in that environment every day, right? I get people telling me that they're not trained. No, they're trained. Trust me, they're trained. Okay, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're probably trained because they're in that situation, right? Probably more than your average patrol cop. In fact, I know more than your average patrol cop. Okay, I'm not going to say SWAT, full-time SWAT. I'm not going to say those guys. LAPD, right? Chicago. I mean, they have full-time SWAT operators that are just flat out badass, right? And they're good. Patrol cops, they don't train as much. ICE, they train a lot. They train for this shit, okay? So unless you're in a situation like that to where you have to make that type of a decision, right? An imminent threat decision, a split-second decision, you don't know. You are basing your entire opinion, right, on one, it's an ideological opinion. Two, you're hearing it from all over, and you're hearing it from people who have mostly never picked up a fucking gun in their life, who have never been in any type of a situation like that in their life. I'm not saying everybody, but I'm saying most. You hear it from the media, you hear it from everybody else, right? But you refused even to hear. I can go ahead and give you dozens of examples, not just from what I'm telling you right now, right? But from self-defense attorneys, right? From military, from cops themselves that will tell you, right, what I'm telling you. You have to put yourself in that situation. I hope none of you have to put yourself in that situation, but I preferred, a long time ago, I preferred to train for this even as a civilian because of my profession, because I wanted to know what it was like and I wanted to know what I was talking about when I had to talk about something like this. I talk a lot about self-defense, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, the patrol cops that you see on the street, right? Not very many of them, right, need to fire their weapon. They pull their firearm a lot, right? But in a defensive situation, they pretty much sometimes throughout, I'm going to say about 70 to 80% of the time throughout their career, they won't get into a gunfight. Okay. Now I'm not saying they don't pull their firearms. They pull them a lot. But as far as actually getting into a gunfight, no, they don't. A lot of them don't. And I can tell you right now, and this is not a blast on law enforcement whatsoever. But in that sense, they need more training. Now, as far as ICE goes, I'm going to tell you, right, whether you like it or not, you telling me that they're not trained, they're trained. This is what they're trained for. They've been doing this shit at least, right, since riots have started breaking out and before, right? You go back to the Bush era. You go back to, you got the Obama era, right? You got the Clinton era. You had ICE, right? So I don't get political. I'm not going to get political on this. I'm giving you a fact, okay? One, Most of you that are talking, I'm going to say probably 99% of you that are talking right now, have never been in an imminent threat situation. 2, you've never been shot at before. 3, you've never trained for it before, right? So yours is coming from just, again, a pure ideological perspective that you hate ICE because you were told to hate ICE, and you hate Trump because you were told to hate Trump. I'm coming from, right, this is what it's like to be in that situation. And I'm going to tell you right now, being shot at sucks. Being attacked sucks, right? So, while I don't sit there and I don't call people liars, I don't tend to call people names or anything like that, I will put out my opinion, and I'll put it out strongly. So if any of you want to get on here and do a live with me and debate it with me, let me know. I'd love to talk about this.